Hello and welcome to Martyn Lucas Investor. My name is Sensei and we are here for the morning forecast show, live every single morning, 2 hours before the opening bell in the US. Today's special is on one Bitcoin whale who crashed the whole market. We're going to be analyzing that, what that means for the market and how that came about. We've also got quite a few XRP ETF updates. Plus, we've also got the core update. Plus, we're going to be going through Powell's speech and just understanding what it was all about. That happened last Friday. We're going to get ready for some more data coming in, CPI, PPI, jobs data, all of that. We'll be confirming whether there's going to be a rate cut or not, but we'll be diving into all of that. So this is a show filled with information you should definitely know about. We are looking at Bitcoin right now and it's leading the market down. Bitcoin has been leading the market down at the moment. We are breaking support now on Bitcoin. And as you know, Bitcoin is the king of the market. What Bitcoin does, the rest of the market does. And Bitcoin's actually been going down 2% while the rest of the market's down between 3 and 6%. So I would imagine that Bitcoin dominance is actually heading up. Again, this is a move that today it's heading up. We could have either Bitcoin really start rallying and outperforming the altcoins, or everything starting to crash, but Bitcoin crashing less than altcoins, because we are due a bounce on Bitcoin dominance. But we won't predict when that will happen because it will just be a simple break of this trend. It could be starting today. But I'll give you my full analysis after we go into news. But the key takeaway here is Bitcoin is certainly now in a downtrend ever since we identified that double top at all-time highs. I would not be surprised to see Bitcoin come down further towards 106,000 and even possibly 100,000. But we won't get too ahead of ourselves. This could just be a fake out. We could this dip could be bought up by the end of today's daily candle close, and we can be looking at the upside again. But right now, if the daily candle closes where it's closing right now, if it closed at these prices below $112,000, to me that would signify we're going lower to at least 106,000. We break 106,000, to me that would signify we're coming down to 100,000. So it depends how low this downtrend is going to take us, but there is news to back this up as well. So if we go to today's newsletter, we do have quite a few top stories. We'll get onto the XRP confirmation, all of that sort of stuff, the legal confirmation, the XRP ETF updates. Lots of good news for XRP, not so much good news for Bitcoin. If you have tuned in, let me see how many people we've got tuned in at the moment. Let me go over here. We've got how many? 136 people. Please do hit the like button if you haven't done so already. Subscribe also if you haven't done so already. We are so close to 100,000 now. We are on the final stretch and there's going to be lots of special giveaways. $1,000 XRP giveaway, charity fundraiser stream, big party with Martyn, all sorts happening for 100,000, so you don't want to miss it. Also this week, quite a few things going on. So if we just look at today's stories at a glance, we've got Nvidia earnings coming up. That's make or break for the market. If Nvidia earnings is bad, I would assume we're going into a bigger sell-off in the markets, especially the crypto market and also the stock market. We could have quite a big correction on our hands if Nvidia doesn't deliver on their earnings. That will be a big moment that investors all around the world will be looking at, because that's what everyone's looking at. S&P 500, about 8% of it is Nvidia, and the real test is how are these AI stocks doing, because they're leading the market. That's what's leading the market right now. If they don't have any more to give, then the market doesn't have any more to give, because those are the AI stocks are what's leading this bull market we're in right now. We've also got the Jackson Hole highlights central bank divergence. You've got the tech stocks sell-off raises concentration risk fears as a NASDAQ pullback, and mounting AI skepticism spotlight the fragility of tech's outsized role in the market performance. These are some of the stories in today's newsletter. We've also got the Bitcoin whale, which we're going to go on to now. Remember, if you like this newsletter, if you want, even if it's worth just getting your today's key stories at a glance, well, you can get that for free at this newsletter. But if you want all the extra information, the charts and all the rest of it, I'll give you the link in the live chat. It's also the first link in the description. You get this newsletter, all the top stories to your inbox every day. That's the Nvidia story. We'll probably cover that later. Bank of Japan is there. We've got, where is the Bitcoin story? Here's the Bitcoin story. So a whale dump triggers 4,000 Bitcoin flash crash, sparking 310 million liquidation cascade. One person, one whale caused this. This is why cryptocurrency is risky. This is why some people don't want to get involved in crypto. Is because what you've got going on is one wallet, one person can really affect the market. Of course, that's the same with other stocks. I mean, you've got big whales out there, but there's a lot more regulation about who can sell what stocks and how much manipulation there can be. In crypto, you can just sell it, and one whale did. So there's one of the risks. And I said this in yesterday's stream. I imagine it's manipulation. I imagine it's one whale that sold it and it caused liquidation. I did my digging as I promised you guys, and here's the story. Do we have proof it's Justin Sun? We don't. We don't have proof, but let me read you the story. On August 24th, 2025, a single Bitcoin whale dumped 24 million Bitcoin, valued at 2.7 billion within minutes, triggering a rapid 4,000 plunge in Bitcoin's price to $114,000 to 110,000. The wallet's still holding 152,000 Bitcoin worth over 17 billion. Is believed to be linked to HTX exchange via a 6-year-old fund trail. An analyst suggests Tron's founder and HTX advisor Justin Sun may be the owner based on historical movement patterns. So we are imagining. The data is suggesting, and analysts are suggesting, that it was Justin Sun. So there we go. The sharp sell-off triggers 310 million in liquidations across the crypto market, with longs disproportionately impacted 502 million compared to 160 million in shorts. Bitcoin alone accounted for 237 million in liquidations, while Ethereum followed closely at 215 million as automated systems exacerbate the decline. The whale's intent wasn't full exit, it was rotation. On-chain data reveals they converted approximately 22,769 Bitcoin into Ethereum on hyperliquid exchange over 5 days, acquiring 472,920 Ethereum worth 2.2 billion and initiating a 577 million leverage Ethereum long. This maneuver not only destabilized prices but also magnified risks inherent in crypto's current architecture. The flash crash illustrated how whales with legacy holdings acquired when Bitcoin traded under $10 retain outsized influence in modern markets. With dormant whales waking amid new highs, thin weekend liquidity, and widespread leverage, similar episodes could become recurring events. When one wallet moves, the entire market is not decentralization, it's a fragility test in real time. So that's what occurred yesterday, exactly as what we thought would happen. Interesting that the data is now suggesting it was Justin Sun from Tron founder. Also a HTX advisor did this, but what's more interesting is also data is now suggesting that what's actually happened isn't he just sold the Bitcoin. It's looking like a significant proportion of that Bitcoin was converted into Ethereum. So that's the move that seems to be happening. It doesn't seem to be a full exit out of the market. It does seem to be a move into Ethereum. But of course, Ethereum is not holding up too well either. So it didn't have a massive impact on Ethereum. But you can see Bitcoin is currently if you're going to compare Bitcoin and Ethereum right now, if Ethereum was following suit with Bitcoin, Ethereum would be under $4,000 right now. It would be below its lows of August 20th. If you look at Bitcoin's chart, we are breaking the August 20th lows. You can see here's the August 20th lows at 111,000. We're below it. We're below 112,000. You can see this is Bitcoin's chart. Then look at Ethereum's chart. There is a lot more strength in Ethereum. Ethereum is nowhere near that $4,000 level. Can it get there? Will it probably go down there? Maybe, probably. But right now, you can see that the money is holding up Ethereum. Bitcoin is the one being sold off at this time. So that is backing up the claim that, yes, Ethereum's not heading up with all the buys that just happened for Ethereum, but it's holding its position. That's good enough. I mean, in terms of if you look at it and someone buys a lot of Ethereum, if there's a lot of sell pressure, if you just hold that same price, that means a lot of buyers are coming in. It doesn't necessarily need to be going up in price for that to signify that a lot of buyers are coming in. So it does look like, and I said I'll do my research, I said I'll do my analysis yesterday. I gave you my thoughts yesterday, but now we've got the evidence here in front of us. That does seem to be the story. It's always a bit concerning when one whale and one person can manipulate the whole market. But it is the crypto market after all. We're still a very early industry. It's one of the perks and benefits of being invested in crypto. I'm not the biggest fan of Bitcoin. There is now news and people speculating of another 51% attack on Bitcoin that would ruin everything. There is also more and more speculation about what Michael Saylor is doing is going back on his word. He's issuing more stock below the NAV he said he was going to issue. There's like a lot of FUD coming out now, whether it's FUD and people are just making up news stories, or well, it's not making up news stories, just trying to push out a false narrative or a bad narrative to get people to sell, or if it's actually real concerns. I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm bullish on crypto long term. There is these FUD cycles where there might be bad actors. Last time it was FTX and Luna. This time it might be Michael Saylor. Who knows? I don't think that. I don't actually think that's the case, but I'm always prepared for that risk. I don't really like Bitcoin that much. I see if I'm going to be holding something, I want to be holding good technologies and things that can perform much better than Bitcoin. But at the end of the day, if Bitcoin crashes and Michael Saylor is a fraud, which I'm not suggesting, but if he is, all the altcoins will go down as well. It would just be a great time to buy, in my opinion. Let me go to your comments and then come back with the next news stories. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Make sure you are hitting the like button. Make sure you are subscribing. And everyone was quick with the merch this morning. Even before, I haven't even said anything yet. Everything sold out. If you weren't in the show yesterday, we hit 90,000 and we launched the 100k Founder Edition mugs. A collection that will only go from number 1 to number 10. Each of them have a special QR code. Once you scan it, there is a surprise there. I don't really want to say too much more, but it's a cool little perk. Anyway, each of the mugs are numbered, so you can see here the number 2s were released yesterday. Oh, not yet. Number 1 was released yesterday. Number 2 was released today in the early hours, and they're already sold out. So keep your eye out on the merch store. Yes, the QR code is blurred out right now, but once you receive it, it's not blurred out, so you can scan it. All the mugs were sold out. Is there anything left? You can see yesterday's mugs. Oh, there is one thing left. And it's probably because it was at the bottom of the page. No one saw it. The poster. The poster for... and you still get the QR code with this. This one actually has the additional signature from Martyn. But this one is the poster. It's all framed and everything. Very high quality poster there. This is probably going to go in a second. This is the number 2 out of 10. We released the number 1 yesterday. This is the only thing left right now. I'll give you the link to it if you're watching. Here is the link to that. There's only one available because it's the number 2 out of 10. That will be unblurred when you receive it. And it's a poster. Martyn's one is on his on the way to him. My one is on the way to me. It's sort of like a silver play button poster. But yeah, go and check that out, and always go and refresh it. There might be another one coming out today. It might be coming out tomorrow. But once we hit 10 out of 10, there is no more of the 100k founder mugs as or poster. There we go. That is on martynlucasshop.com. Let me go to your comments. So Ethereum should be going up. Yep, I answered that. It doesn't have to go up. It can just be holding its level, and that shows that buyers are coming in. What are your thoughts on when market opens in a couple hours? ETH going up or down, guys? Oh, I don't really like to give very short-term predictions. I imagine if Bitcoin continues to head down, Ethereum will come down as well. Remember, these are all from the merch store. What are your thoughts on up? Bill's Day 4 says it's going up. True. I don't plan on widely wealthy, just enough to retire in 10 years. What about VeChain? It's an old coin. It's a 2021 coin that probably won't make all to the highs it made. Nothing wrong with it. I actually still hold some. Well, I bought some in December of 2024, once we realized the altcoin season was coming then. But I don't have high expectations for it. Hello everyone, Michael Saylor's a golem of crypto. I've been in it for 5 years. I retired last year and I'm 69 years old. I've been waiting and waiting. Yep, these bear markets could be long. Bought 10k of HBAR and cashing out at 3x. Good luck to you, Ricky boy. So let's move on to our next news story. Let me turn this up for Martyn. There we go. Let me go to the next news story. So here's the XRP news. Please do hit the like button if you have just come in. So there is more XRP news now. So XRP's legal win triggers XRP filing surge. So last week on Friday, we had the confirmation from the Second Circuit Court of Appeals that the case is now officially closed. And what happened then was the ETF filings continued and they got amended. And that means they're getting ready. So the Ripple SEC legal battle officially ended on August 22nd, 2025, as the Second Circuit Court of Appeals dismissed both party appeals, concluding the 4-year case that began in December of 2020. Ripple will pay $125 million civil penalty, reaffirming prior court decisions. The injunction bearing XRP institutional sales without SEC registration remains in place, and Judge Annalisa Torres declined to lift it. Her July 2023 ruling that secondary sales of XRP are not securities, while institutional sales may qualify as securities offerings, remain the operative precedent. So it's done. Those are the terms. 125 million penalty. Ripple are paying. It wasn't the reduced 50 million. They couldn't get Judge Torres to agree on that, but it doesn't matter. 125 million paid by Ripple. Secondary sales are not securities. Sales to institutional sales may be qualified as securities, but they've already sorted that out. So all finished, set, and done. But what's happening now, what happened after we got that official end of the case last week, on Friday last week actually, hours after that, we had legal resolution. So as hours after the legal resolution, 7 asset managers, Grayscale, Bitwise, Canary Capital, CoinShares, Franklin Templeton, 21 Shares, Wisdom Tree, amended their S1 registration statements for spot XRP ETFs. The coordinated filing reflects SEC's technical feedback and incorporates both cash and in-kind creation/redemption mechanisms consistent with structures used in approved Bitcoin ETFs. So did I hear a rooster? You probably did. Yes, there is a rooster. We love the rooster on the morning show. There wouldn't be a morning show without it, I don't think. So what's actually happened is quite interesting. Let me just make sure that's... Yeah, I'll leave it for now. What's happened is quite interesting, and it's, again, we've been saying October XRP ETFs. October, I've been saying for the longest time now, October is when the XRP ETFs will be announced. And now we're getting more and more and more evidence that it's going to be in October. The legal case came to an end. Remember, we said that's going to happen first. That has to happen first. We're very confident that'll happen in August. That happened. The next step was the ETFs in October. because of the 245-day deadline. That's still in place. But what's even more bullish is as soon as that case came to an end, all of these asset managers went in. They received some input from the SEC, and they all made amendments straight after that case ended. So all the amendments are there. This has happened with Bitcoin ETFs in the past before they were approved. So the amendments are now ready. They've now been filed again, and they are now ready to launch. The SEC gave them feedback, and why would they be amending their ETFs if they weren't ready to launch? And they are now getting very close to launch. So that coordinated filing reflects the SEC's technical feedback and incorporate both cash and in-kind creation / redemption mechanisms consistent with structures used in approved Bitcoin ETFs. Bloomberg's ETF analyst James Saraf noted a high approval probability. For the XRP ETFs, that's 95% by the SEC's October deadline, though approval is still pending. XRP jumped roughly 10% to around $3.10, with trading ranges recorded between $3.05 and $3.37. Analyst projections estimate potential first-year ETF inflows between 4.3 billion and 8.4 billion if approved, drawing comparisons to previous Bitcoin ETF launches. However, these inflows forecasts and expectations of 50% plus rallies remain speculative and market dependent. I do think that this ETF filing will, I think next month, if we look at XRP's chart, nothing has changed. I'm keeping my views the same. August, sideways moving month. We will test $3.40, and we could come as low as $2.62. That is still my thoughts. Beginning of September, I still said we might even have a little correction, a sort of a flash crash, or coming even to $2.62, maybe even $2.30. However, by the end of September, I imagine we would see all-time highs on XRP. So some point in September, whether it's at the beginning, middle, of the end, I imagine it'll be close towards the end or the middle. We will see an XRP price above $3.70, potentially towards the $4, $4.30, $4.50 mark. Why am I saying that? The ETFs won't even be approved by then. But why am I saying that? Well, I think because everyone will be buying the hype into the ETFs. And there'll be a lot more stories coming out about the altcoin ETFs, whether it's an XRP ETF, an AVAX ETF, a Litecoin ETF, a Solana ETF. There's quite a few ETFs, maybe 4 or 5, that could be coming out in that October time. And I think that hype will create a buy the rumor news story that will take XRP to all-time highs. Then it will correct on the day of the ETF launch. Then it will continue going higher. So I do expect potentially all-time highs on XRP next month, and then continuing those all-time highs. And if we do get an altcoin season, I do expect XRP to go towards $8. I'll probably take most of my profits before by the time we reach $8.50, keeping some for $10, $12. But I don't think I will be holding my breath for $10 plus. I certainly will be selling before $10 because there's no guarantee we get there. But $8, $10, $12, they're all in the target range. But because I've been holding since 30 cents, I'll be selling before I'll probably start selling at $4.70, $5.30, $6.37. I've got all my levels already in place. I haven't changed my plans at all. Let me go back into your comments. Love it. So you love the rooster. Bring the rooster inside for 100k celebration. No, I've only said I'll only bring the rooster in if we ever get like a $300, $400 super chat with the comment saying bring the rooster in. The rooster would be an absolute mess in the studio. He is a feral rooster. It's not just like a pet. It's a very aggressive rooster. You think Bitcoin sellers are rotating into ETH and alts? Well, that specific seller, it does look like the on-chain analysis is suggesting that whether it was Justin, what's his name? Justin something. Justin Sun? I think so. Whether it was Justin Sun, which we believe it was, it does show that wallet seem to have exchanged that Bitcoin for Ethereum. So I'm not saying all Bitcoin sellers are rotating into Ethereum, but that specific case that caused that correction last night, it does seem to be a rotation into Ethereum. But we've been talking about this rotation into Ethereum for the whole of August. We've been saying for the last couple of months, it's time for Ethereum. XRP has its run, Bitcoin had its run, it's now Ethereum season. So in general, yes, Bitcoin sellers are rotating into Ethereum, and specifically, not really alts, but specifically Ethereum. That has been happening for the last couple of months, because when I say it's Ethereum season, it's not just people are coming in and just buying Ethereum. They're moving their money from Bitcoin and other altcoins into Ethereum. That's why I've been calling this Ethereum season. Good morning, everyone. Did I hear Rooster? Yes, did. Good morning, all. Hello, Yolanda. How are you doing? Nice to see you here today. That's awesome. Perfect ambience for the morning live. ABN, I'm glad you like it. Oh, Blue Bus Driver likes the Rooster as well. I hope we see the Rooster at the 100k party. Oh, God. Depends how much we raise for charity. We are doing a charity stream as well. Let me give you the link for that, actually. Let me go here for a second and I'll find you the link for all the events that are happening. If you were here yesterday, I popped one of these, or this one specifically. I then went back and looked at the stream to see how loud it was, because in person it was very, very loud. But the microphone didn't pick up the volume because obviously we've got settings so it makes sure it doesn't crack or anything like that. But it was very loud. But the microphone didn't know justice at all. So I don't know how to sort that out. I'll probably have to ask Martyn. Let me go and show you this. So we are on the live page of the channel. If you go to the lives, so if you go onto Martyn Lucas Investor's channel and you go onto the live streams, these are all the events that are coming up. So obviously at 1:30 or in 23 minutes time, you've got Martyn going live. He's going live with Bullish IPO. Sensei XRP Ripple soaring after RLUSD settlement. So yeah, we've got a big news story there that Martyn's going to be covering. But here's the upcoming events. Right now it's scheduled for Wednesday, the 100,000 subscribers reach. So we're going to be changing this so we make sure we're live when the 100,000 happens. So all you have to do is go on here and just press notification on, just so you get notified. Or even better, you can just go onto your subscribe button and put all notifications on if you are just for the channel. But after that, I will be going live with a fundraiser event. We are fundraising from Zach for Zach's charity Development Alert. It's done. You can see underneath it says fundraiser. This is all done through YouTube's own way. Let me make sure. Take a picture of the rooster and show it to us for the 100,000 celebration. Maybe I can do that, Yolanda. Thanks for the idea. So the XRP, so this is going to be a fundraiser, all part of the 100k celebration. I've put it to go live on 28th of August. So that's Thursday. The day after or the day we obviously these will change depending on when we reach 100,000, because if you look at it over here, we are rolling around quite fast right now. 99,205, incredible. Then I'll be going live with this fundraiser. So this is to support, it's done all in the proper way. Global Giving is a proper charity. They support Development Alert, all of this sort of stuff. And you can press donate now, and all the money, including the transaction fees, everything goes straight to them. We don't make any money from the super chats or anything like that. It will all go directly to the charity. So I'll be hosting, you can join me. If everyone that's watching right now could do me a favor, I'm going to give you the link. This link will take you to this page. If you see right here, it says notify me. Just please go and click on that. Just so at least you get notified when we're going live, and then you can decide whether you want to watch it or not. So I'm going to give you this link. It will take you to this stream, and all you have to do is there's a button here that says notify me. Just click that button. So let me give you the link. It's in the live chat. It'd be great if you could join us. Click that link. All I'm asking you to do is just press one button, notify me. Just at least you get notified when we go live with that event. So here is that link, and just press notify me. I really do appreciate it. How do I buy Ethereum? I have an account with Robinhood. Thanks. You go into their crypto section, and as long as you've got some money in your account, you just press buy. and you buy some Ethereum. Some people like doing it with limit orders. Some people like buying it with market orders. Some people prefer to buy the ETF instead of buying the actual cryptocurrency. You can buy the ETF. It's basically like a stock, but it's just the ETF. You buy the stock, they buy the Ethereum underlying, and you pay a little management fee. That's maybe a safer way of doing it, probably a safer way of doing it if you're new to it. Lots of different options. Sean June, he's famous now. The rooster's famous now, yeah. I think we've collectively found the mascot. Mid to end September. Yeah, I think so, Bozeman. My views aren't changed, but of course, if we go into a broader sell-off in the market, if Nvidia earnings aren't good, and if the CPI and PPI isn't good, then we're probably going to go into a bear market, and that would be very unfortunate. But remember, I'm always prepared for all scenarios. Bear market, crashes, going down to zero, sideways action, upwards action, major upwards action. If you're prepared for all scenarios, you'll be fine. But we are in a very, very volatile time in the market because there's so much going on, and it's at a very pivotal point for interest rates and inflation and jobs data. You should play Alice in Chains. Here comes the rooster. Should play Alice in Chains. Okay, thank you, High Energy Investments. I can't decide what to buy in terms of drip feeding. £233 is my starter by XRP or Ether. Unfortunately, poor deal. We cannot give financial advice here. I can't tell you what to buy. This is not designed as a show to tell you to buy or sell. It's just to share our journey, give you some information. I personally just buy a bit of both. Depending on what you like more, maybe you just go all in on XRP, or if you prefer Ethereum, you go all in on Ethereum. At the end of the day, just don't put in more than you can afford to lose, because I'm not saying these tokens will go to zero. Probably very unlikely that happen, but in a bear market, these tokens do go down 80 plus %. So you have to be prepared for that. Rooster for President 2028. I liked Toshi says High Energy Investments. IOTA built for AI agents and WEF plugin. Thank you very much for all of that information. I would think diversification would be best, a little of both. Thank you, Master, for your reply. We also house any needy or hungry like buttons that come in our way. So if you want to help, please reach deep into your pockets and hearts and donate as many taps for all those. All David Ainsley is asking you to say in that very complicated way, but we love it, is smash the like button. Just smash the like button and also subscribe. Okay, let me go on to the next news story today. Let's go back to our newsletter. If you are enjoying the newsletter, I'll give you the link to that for us in a second. Where's it gone? Where's today's newsletter gone? Oh, here it is. Moving on to the Jackson Hole speech from last week, just digesting that a little bit further. Jerome Powell used the Jackson Hole to signal a tilt towards easing without pre-committing, the balance of risk appearing to be shifting. With inflation risk tilted up but employment risk tilted down, he added that the policy is not on a preset course, and that the baseline outlook and the shifting balance of risk may warrant adjusting our policy stance. Markets heard September cut is in play, stocks rallied, the dollar softened, and rate cut odds jumped into the mid-80s to 90s. What Powell actually said, and here are some of his key quotes. Powell framed a two-sided risk. A quote from him is, "In the near term, risks to inflation are tilted to the upside and the risks to employment to the downside." He called today's labour market a curious kind of balance. Both demand for and supply of workers have cooled, and warned that if job risks materialise, they can do so quickly via layoffs. He also stressed that while tariffs are lifting some good prices, a reasonable base case is the impact is relatively short-lived and a one-time shift in that price level. That's what he's expecting for the tariff-driven inflation. And vowed, we will not allow a one-time increase in the price level to become an ongoing inflation problem. Importantly, he noted that the policy is 100 basis points closer to neutral than it was a year ago, which gives space to proceed carefully. Two lines that mattered most for traders. This is what moved the market. The shifting balance of risk may warrant adjusting our policy stance. and monetary policy is not a preset course. Combined with rising jobless risk, investors inferred an easing bias for September. So that is why the market rallied. Those two key quotes there. He didn't say there's going to be a rate cut, so always make sure you take that into account. But we are very confident now that with those statements there will be a rate cut in September. Martyn says the carry trade could cause the market to go down 50%, S&P 500 to 3,300. Is that your take too? I don't think I'm as bearish on that. I think we had an X Spaces a month or so ago about it, and I was much less concerned than Martyn was about a 50% correction or a 40% correction. This carry trade is something you always need to keep in mind. But it's a sliding scale. It can be as bad as a 50% correction. It can be a 10% correction. The carry trade is fairly likely to happen. Japan increased their interest rates, leverage unwinds from people borrowing, all that sort of stuff. But how big that escalates, well, depends on quite a few things. So I am 30-40% confident it will happen, potentially, but I only think it will be a small correction. I do, of course, prepare for a bigger scenario if the carry trade is sort of to the extreme extent, but I'm not too concerned about the carry trade at the moment anyway, until we start seeing some more information on it. That's my thoughts anyway. Let me go here. Thank you, David, for that. What are you guys buying crypto on? I'll let everyone answer that. Investing in Bitcoin is like buying art. There's no real utility in it, but the value is always going up. Axel, it sounds like you've listened to Martyn's video from yesterday. Let me just see what's going on. We'll continue with the story. I don't know what's going on in the chat. How do you prepare for the carry trade? Well, you always just, if you just have to be a long-term investor, be prepared for the upside, downside, sideways risk. Don't be in too much leverage positions, and then you're fine. Have some money on the side if you want to take advantage of a recession or a carry trade. Why markets rallied? So equities, especially rate sensitive like small caps and housing, popped on the idea that cuts could arrive as soon as next month. Treasury yields and dollar eased as the speech nudged the Fed towards accommodation. Options and Fed funds pricing shift. Probability of a September cut rose 75 to 90% in several feeds summarized by reporters. The quiet big deal, the Fed's framework tweak. So Powell also unveiled results from the Fed's 5-year framework review. The updated statement on longer run goals rolls back to part of the 2020 makeup regime that tolerated overshooting of 2% after periods of undershooting. The new language removes the shortfalls phrasing from employment and realigned with the 2012 more balanced framework, making it clear that the Fed will weigh both mandates when they conflict. Translated, less tolerance for deliberate inflation overshoots and more symmetry across goals. The shift matters for retail investors because it reduces the chance the Fed looks through inflation with the explicit aim of running hot. It nudges policy back towards traditional inflation targeting with flexibility but lowering appetite for risk if prices re-accelerate, especially with tariff pass-through in play. So how certain are rate cuts now? Well, this changes on literally an hourly basis. Right now, what we're looking at, has it gone up or down? It's about an 83% chance that we get rate cut in September. Mid-80s to around 90% for a 125% cut in September, up from 75% pre-speech. Per trader tallies cited by major outlets. Let me scroll down to some of the risks. So the risks that the speech flagged, there's always risks. It's not just going to be up only. One of the risks was tariff inflation. Powell's one-time level shift base case helps, but he admitted the timing and the size are uncertain. Repeat increases could extend pass-through or nudge expectations higher. Labour air pocket. He warned employment downside can arrive fast. Recent poll revisions and slowing hiring reinforce caution. Communication risk. By easing the framework back towards tradition, the Fed reduces overshooting tolerance, but if growth slips while core inflation stays sticky, the trade-off tightens, raising volatility around prints and meetings. We did have a chart in one of the previous newsletters, I don't have it up right now, which I laid out all the risks and what the Fed would do in each scenario. So it's probably worth checking out. And obviously, if you get the newsletter, you can go back and have a look at last week. I think it was last Thursday's newsletter, where it had all those risks, what the Fed would do, what to look out for. But what we're looking for next is jobs data. We're looking at PPI September the 10th, CPI September the 11th. The FOMC meeting, of course, is on the 16th to the 17th. So a lot of data coming out in the month of September, especially these are the two big ones, PPI and CPI, 10th of September, 11th of September. We do have some jobs data coming out on Thursday. Remember, there was an economic calendar in the newsletter, so you can go and check. Yeah, initial jobless claims will be coming out on Thursday. I'll be covering that live on the show, and then potentially going straight from that into the charity event. But that's the initial jobless claims on Thursday, which will be our first indication of the next data post Jerome Powell's speech. But really, the PPI and CPI will be very important. Let me go back to your comments. I am all out of crypto. Move the product. Congratulations to you. I hope you made a nice profit. When we know more about the carry trade, well, it's more about what Japan does. I'm not really stopping that from. It's not really something I keep in the back. I keep in the back of my mind, but it's not something that stops me investing or anything like that. If it happens, it's normally quite quick, down and up. And if you're investing long term, these things shouldn't frighten you at all. But how we know more about the carry trade? Well, there's lots of the newsletters that we've covered. The next thing we're looking at is what Japan decides to do at their next interest, at their next, basically their next FOMC meeting, their next interest rate decision meeting. Change my strategy while everything is uncertain. Dividend capture is what I'm doing. Yestin, congratulations to you. I like that you have a plan with everything going on. Yeah, it's very uncertain right now. The markets are all over the place. Nvidia earnings on Tuesday or Wednesday. When is it? Wednesday or Tuesday? It's going to be massive. That's going to that could be the event that starts a bear market if it's really bad. So we'll keep an eye on that. See some of these questions. I think I missed some from the beginning. Good morning, Future Millionaires says high energy investments. It looks like buy the dip Mondays. It does, doesn't it? I think Martyn has been buying the dip. I think he said, I've been buying Bitcoin all night. Martyn's been buying more and more Bitcoin. Yeah, Martyn has the risk tolerance for it. The thing is, if you look at the only concern with just buying the dip, and this is obviously not towards Martyn because I know he's got the risk tolerance, is if you look at previous bull markets, there has been, 3 or 4 times within the bull market where you get significant corrections, and one of those significant corrections was a pretty hefty pullback last time, where where Bitcoin corrected 55% within a bull market. Bitcoin corrected 55%. That would take Bitcoin's prices from that previous all-time high we've just put in, going down 55%, which I don't think we will do, but this is what happened in a bull market, and then we went all the way back up. It'll put Bitcoin back at around $56,000. If you look at Ethereum as well, a similar thing happened there in Ethereum in the bull market, last bull market, once it reached all-time highs, or once it blew past its all-time highs, it came down 60%. Well, that would put Ethereum from the highs down towards, $1,700. I'm not predicting a 50 or 60% correction, but I'm always prepared for it. So we are still very high in price in Ethereum. If you look at where we were a couple months ago, we were looking at support around 1,500, 1,400. We are up significantly from there. We are still very, very high priced on Ethereum. I don't see this as a significant dip at all. I would be buying on a much bigger dip compared to a dip that doesn't look like anything on a longer term chart. When will I start buying the dip? Maybe if XRP goes down to $2 potentially $2.62 open a trade. Yes, I do have some leverage long positions open at the moment, but they're 2-3x leverages, so they can withstand 50% corrections, and they're only my leverage position. Most of my position is in spot. If you're looking at Bitcoin as well, where would I start buying Bitcoin? Potentially 90,000, 100,000 if we get that low. But I'm not too interested in these dips at the moment because I've seen crypto be a lot more volatile. But at the end of the day, if you know where it's going and you're holding long term, it doesn't really matter. Everyone has their own strategies. Just know your risk tolerance. Just because Martyn's buying today doesn't mean it's right for you to buy. Just because I'm not buying today doesn't mean it's not right for you to buy. Everyone's situation is different. Martyn's given his link, so I think we are ready to go live with Martyn. So I'm going to end the show and send you straight to Martyn. Have we missed anything? Since Sensei went short on Friday, I'm not sure if he's a new Jim Cramer. Nvidia will beat numbers. Am I the new Jim Cramer? I hope not. I hope not. Maybe I am. Oh god, that would be funny. But remember, I did go short, then I closed my short, I went long, and I made my money back plus more. So there we go. You've got to have patience in the crypto space, got to stay out of the noise and accumulate. There's so many positive catalysts incoming. Only buy what you can afford to lose also. Yeah. And also be careful. If you're buying with leverage, crypto can go down, we've just seen 60% last bull market. It can go down 40% over a week or a month. It can go down 80, 90% in a bear market, and we never know where bear markets start. So be very careful if you're buying crypto with leverage. If you're buying long-term, perfect, but you don't want to be wiped out with leverage because you'll be very annoyed in 5 years' time when you look back and you saw how much crypto you had and you think to yourself, well, I didn't need any leverage. I'd still be making money. Change my strategy. Oh yeah, we've read that. Okay, cool. Well done. Thanks, Sensei. Those are wise words, mate. No worries. Zig is my next dividend on the London Stock Exchange. Thank you, Yeston. Well done. XRP is for me. Thanks, Sensei. Cool, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm back tomorrow with the morning forecast show. We do have that poster available on the 100k collection, unless it's gone. No, it's still there. Remember, keep checking back. I think the mugs are certainly the most popular item on the show, but there is also a poster. The first time we've done a poster, it's signed by Martyn, the poster, and the mugs aren't, and you've got the QR code. So every day, or maybe a couple a day, we'll be releasing these mugs. There's only going to be 10 of them, 1 out of 10. These sold out even before I announced it. The only thing that is there at the bottom of the page is that poster. So go and check it out and go and refresh so you make sure you're part of the 100k Founder Edition merchandise or club. Cool. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Another great show. Thank you, Sensei. Take care of yourself. Yes, everyone take care of yourselves. Yolanda, thanks again for a great show, Sensei. No worries. We're here every morning, morning forecast show. Now we're going over to Martyn, who has some exciting news about Bullish and our LUSD. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye-bye.